Welcome back. The NYC Youth Agenda Steering Committee is set to unveil the much anticipated 2024 New York City Youth Agenda at a policy party, acknowledging the passion of key civic players and community members in New York City. This annual agenda meticulously crafted teens from all five boroughs, encompassing a spectrum of policy recommendations aimed at fostering a more equitable and just city for youth. Here now are Yvote's youth leaders. We've got Emily Munoz and Heba Elkouraichi. Is that correct? How am I spelling it, pronouncing that? Did I get it right? Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. Uh,
That's close. El Qureshi.
Elkouraichi, thank you. I don't want to mess it up twice. Elkouraichi. Um, Listen, I want to talk a little bit about why vote and get your perspective here. And so, for people who don't know about why vote, let's first of all just give a little background as to what is why vote. And I'll start first with Emily.
So basically, YVO is a youth-led organization, and the whole premise of YVO is basically teaching civic knowledge to youth across New York City. And we have different programs. Like for one, we have YVO Democracy Camp, we have Change Makers, and we have different initiatives and ways to get youth across New York City and like the greater part of New York more involved in civic engagement.
And Heba, I know part of your job is really going out there and getting youth engaged in the affairs of the city and really trying to let them know about civic engagement. Talk to us a little bit about how that engagement has been going.
It has been going really well. I started off with WIBO in Democracy Camp, where for the first time I was able to pursue research in the sphere of civic engagement, mental health awareness specifically for minority youth. And I was able to create surveys, really reach out to people. And the more I worked with WIBO, the more I realized that people are willing to take part in civic engagement. And um, now that I'm part of WIBO, I've also worked at National Politics, which is its sister organization, and I'm a lead fellow with them. And I've been able to lead a project with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression to help young people be able to pursue freedom of expression in school settings. And I've noticed that so many people are willing to be civically engaged if you just ask that of them. And it has been a dream to be civically engaged myself, but also help other people do the same.
And I want to talk to you about this, Emily. I should say, your 2024 NYC Youth Policy Party, and it was an agenda policy party. What exactly went on there?
So, whenever we talked about the policy party before, it was really funny because, like, when we were deciding what to call it, people were like, "Oh, like it's a party," like, and we're like, so the party is kind of like a play on words, I guess. It wasn't like a party, but we wanted to show that policy can be fun, and so that was kind of like the idea behind the name, like policy and legislation and talking about serious topics. It doesn't have to be something that's boring. So I think that made it more of an engaging event. And basically, what we did there, we had like a lot of people in the community and even elected officials like the comptroller and like different New York City borough presidents come and like see all of our policy recommendations that we as youth and also our adult allies in the program, the recommendations that we've been working on. So we were sort of showcasing that for the greater community and for the politicians. And it was like a really fun event. We had different things, like we had food, we had fake tattoos that you could put on. It was so many decorations, and it was just a really fun night where we could all sit down and talk about what we've been working on throughout the year and also connect with people that are working in the community.
And Heber, for people who don't know what you've been working on through the course of the past year, what have you been doing?
Thank you. We've actually been drafting recommendations in 5 specific core areas of policy, including housing security, of which I'm the co chair, economic mobility, education equity, environmental environmental justice and one other. So we've been drafting recommendations through the Yay census. We've gotten much of our data and research through the Yay census. Youth Ask Youth. We've asked youth around the city to sort of tell us what they really want in policy so we can represent them. And throughout the past 8 months, we have been drafting research, figuring out how to keep political officials accountable to youth. And, at the policy party, we gave out our recommendations. And near the end, we asked policy officials to tell us sort of how they would be accountable to us and how they would do their best to implement these policies.
Yeah. Emily, you got a youth civic hub that just recently started. Talk to us about that.
So basically, the Youth Civic Hub is this thing where youth across New York City have access to a bunch of opportunities and different events that are happening related to civic engagement. And this has always been like a big thing because being in YVote, like we have this thing called the YVote newsletter where us YVote members, we get access and links to different opportunities. And we wanted to expand this and make sure that youth all across the city have access to this. And you can just go to the website and it's there and you can see so many different kinds of opportunities and events, and it's really something to help connect youth to civics, like regardless if you're in YVote or not. So we're really expanding it.
And so, as we look around, how do you find out information about the City Hub, and how can people really get connected?
So to get connected, if I'm not mistaken, I think the website is youthcivichub.org. It could be .com, but I think it's .org. And it's a really easy website. You can even just search up in your search bar Youth Civic Hub. And once you do go there, everything is there. It's really organized. There's different opportunities that you can look at, and you can also filter it based on which borough you live in or if you want something that's online. So that's also a fun aspect of it, and it's really easy to navigate.
Heba, for yourself, obviously being involved politically at a young age, that's not always the case for a lot of people. For you, why is it important to be involved politically?
I think growing up as a young, low income, and visibly Muslim woman, um, for most of my life, I felt as if it wasn't my place to be involved politically, or people would kind of be put off by my appearance and not really listen to what I had to say. So when I realized that I was passionate about making my voice heard, I was quite anxious. But I decided to just go with it and join YVote's Democracy Camp program. And that was the first time that I was politically involved, had political discourse, and was civically engaged in general. And when I did, I'm talking about the opportunities newsletter. Whenever I find an opportunity that piqued my interest, I would apply to it. For I remember that one. Like how differences between I think that everybody regardless of they've grown up able or express their thoughts and opinions.
Yeah. So we got a little technical difficulty. Let me come to you, Emily, and ask you the same question before we wrap up. Tell us a little bit about your political involvement and why you decided to be politically involved.
So for me, as a kid, I was always interested in history, and it was something about history that just always interested me. Like, I remember there was this book called A Street Through Time, and it was basically depicting this one street developing over time. And something always fascinated me about looking in the past and um, looking at our present and then looking at how we can influence the future. And so I just really have loved history, and history led me to politics because history influences politics. And then also growing up as a Black girl, I think that's also why I've always loved politics and history because that's always been a big thing in the Black African American community is this sense of revolution, this sense of standing up for your community, standing up for yourself, for the people around you. And so that's always been a big thing that my parents have communicated towards me. So that definitely shaped the way that I grew up. And then during 2020, I know that's when a lot of people started getting involved in politics. I was interested in it before, but during 2020, that's when I was really like, wow, this is something that I'm really interested in. And people would always tell me that I should be a lawyer, but I'm a lot more interested in politics. And I just I just like seeing how minds can come together and decide policy and look at things that have happened and make sure that things go well in the future for the future generations and for the now. So also being in Yvote has really connected me to this passion and has helped me put my passions like make it real. It has helped me to expand upon my civic knowledge to really like it carves the person that I want to be and the person working in politics that I hope to become.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you both for joining us. I think you guys have been great in terms of being a voice and an advocate for young people today and for policy that needs to be out there. Certainly, I know that, us mature adults, we've got our agenda, but it's important also to recognize the youth agenda as well. And thank you for the work that you're doing with Yvote to really get the word out and really encourage people. So, Heba, Emily, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.